Yeah, welcome into Roll Q&A, everybody. We're doing junglers here today. Lasbra, Stanford Soccer, Panitom, Layers, and our very own Myflin will join us here. Fun addition having Myf back with us. Myf, how long has it been since you've, and I don't mean this in a meme way, I really mean competitive Smite. When was the last time you competed? You didn't remember when you won your world
championship. I think it's been about 2.5 years. No, 3 total years.
Since you've played competitive
1,000
Smite.
human days.
He spam left at my back camps and I killed him and he lost.
That was the last time you played?
No, I qualified in the SCC and then Wowie benched me, and then he got kicked out of the SCC down to the SOC. Hold that, Wowie.
Got it. So you two have you guys have played against each other in the past a little bit, huh?
Yep.
Who got the better of who most in that matchup?
I got a ring.
I got 2.
Oh God, he won.
Yeah, it stinks for you, Myf. All right, so we got the junglers. This is good. You guys are all together. You can build up your role as much as you want. You can make it seem super underpowered, so we'll buff it a little bit more if that's what your aim is. Let's start super high level here, though. How would you guys describe your role? What would you say your role is as a jungler to somebody like me who's asking what your role is?
We're talking
team
before.
is good enough to carry you, and then that's it.
You hope your team is good enough to carry you?
Are we talking before the buffs or after the buffs?
As of right now in Smite, what is your role on the team as a jungler?
You farm, you get items, and you kill people. Boom. True.
We all agree with that?
Right now, yeah.
Come on, boys. I mean, junglers are the shot callers. We're the backbone of the team. We do everything. You think mid laners are out there thinking for themselves? Do you think mid laners are landing ultimates if we're not Thor dunking, Rat stunning, and Circuit ulting Panitom? Come on, boys.
I mean, a bit of map control, get the farm going, get your gangs going,
There you
and and then you get your items online, which are pretty strong right now. And then
I guess
it's a bit annoying with the meta right now with the peel supports and all that. That can be a bit hard to kill the backline, especially if they're playing like hard to kill backline. But if they're easy targets, you can just one-shot them. But if the peel supports are out, I would say jungle are really good, but because the peel supports are in right now, they're like a less dominant than what it could be. Because junglers are really strong, right? But the peel supports are just making it harder.
Well, look, I know it's been a real trying year for you guys in the jungle. How tough were those dark days of tanky, warrior-only jungles, Panitom?
I don't know, I usually remember like, oh, they ban Erlang, Gilgan, and Osiris, and I was like, oh, I'm done. I can't play the game then.
Yeah.
Sam, did you have? We were joking earlier on. Even in the days of the warrior meta, still felt like you were a holdout for a little while. You refused to go quietly into the warrior meta, but still saw some of those out of you. Do you have not a hard time as far as adapting as a player, but did you have a hard time accepting that warrior jungles were all the rage here early in Season 8?
Maybe a little bit, I mean, it's just a pretty boring play style, and especially the way that it sucked for a while. So it's kind of like a lot of it was full tank and just trying to do as much as you can early to do nothing late.
Right.
Which just it's like fine, but.
Well, how about right now? It feels like everyone's been talking about how good jungle as a role is in general, assassins, specifically. Do you think that right now Layers is one of the strongest states that jungle's been in?
Yeah, for the whole year I'd say so. Before the buffs, it was like Sam was saying, everyone else was saying, it was just warriors. Erlang, Osiris with mannequins. And then maybe a cam or a rat with the mannequins is how deep you could go before the buffs. And then after buffs, it's really, all the assassins are just a lot better than they were. Right. So assassins are kind of just,
I have to imagine it's just more fun playing jungle right now, right? Than it was at the beginning of the year.
A lot more variety.
Yeah, you can almost play every god, so it feels good.
Right. How about you, Myf? I mean, not competing, but you get to jump into ranked.
No, not ranked.
No ranked for you.
Dude, rank's hard, man. I got 2,500 MMR. Stop smiling at me, Layers, you scumbag. Look,
I'm capped.
Look, right now, jungle is incredibly fun. Speaking from a purely casual standpoint, I load in, I play Kleena. I've played 30 games. I've won 29. It feels nice, and I don't have to deal with Gabs and Sylvanas like you guys do, literally every game. Jungle's alright, but do we think jungle's stronger now than it's ever been? I'm not sure about that.
I think that's kind of the next topic I want to move
Oh,
into.
did I steal your thunder?
No, it's actually a good segue. It's a perfect segue. When you got two people who are ready to host segments, it tends to happen. Meta shifts in jungle history, I think, is an interesting topic to explore. A pretty big swap with, what was it, 8.9 was when all the Mace and Assassin changes kind of came in. In your mind, anyone's mind, was that one of the biggest meta shifts in jungle history this year? Or looking back over all the 8 seasons of SMITE, does anything come to mind as bigger updates, bigger changes to the jungle role?
I don't know if a big change, but my biggest thought, so I remember in season 5 when I started playing competitively, is when they reduced like invading, like experience and all that. It fast turned away from invading, and you had to play like more as a team early game, whereas jungle early game is like level 5 and stuff. You just took like 1-on-1s and back camps and all that. That just fast got removed, and then I mean now invading back camps is kind of useless early game, which is kind of annoying. Like I wish you get like a bit more benefit for actually out-rotating the jungler.
The only benefit is they don't get the farm.
Yeah,
exactly.
So like
Feels good.
You get like 8 gold a pop for like invading. You get like 8 gold. You get like pennies.
so
It used to be like 60.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if you invaded, you were just feeling really good. You invaded, and you're like,
If
at
you're-
least they're not getting it.
Obviously, I don't want like the invade meta where the support is like back in the like speed buff level 1 and all that. But I think it's pretty cool that if the other jungler is like out rotating you, making the right calls and all that, then you get like a big lead. But now it's like, okay, I invade your back camps and I'm gonna fall behind. So that's a bit lame sometimes.
I feel like that's such a unique balancing point.
Obviously it's hard
roles.
to balance. Yeah.
Because, look, in the few years I've been playing SMITE, jungle has always seemed one of the more intimidating roles, because it feels like, there's always this pressure on the jungler to be there. You need to be farming, you need to be ganking my lane, I've fallen behind because their jungler's been here, where have you been, things like that. As a player, as a jungle player, does that pressure sometimes build up for you guys? I mean, you feel like that there's something you should be doing at all times? Is it a difficult kind of pressure role to play in your mind?
I think you should always be trying to play somewhere.
Sure.
Like if one team is like really like leaning towards like duo side, and that's like where their pressure is and like where they win, you should always try to find like somewhere to win. If you're losing in all lanes, you just lose.
Right.
So like you need to find like a spot for you to play. So that's like kind of the big thing for jungle, I'd say, with the pressure point.
Right, I mean, other lanes just get to kick it and farm, right? You guys gotta like...
So much privilege, man.
Right.
But I think jungle is an interesting role in that you can almost go back always. And if a lane's losing, you say, oh, if I was there, maybe they wouldn't be losing as hard. Or maybe one jungler is ganking your duo lane, you're like, oh, well, I was trying to help out SOT in the solo lane or something like that. But jungle competitively, I think, is kind of far removed from a lot of that casual to ranked pressure. And casuals and ranked, you load in, you could be Lasbra, you could have Layer's world champion tag at a 3K MMR lobby, and your team's, oh man, where are you? They're invading my purple buff, help me out, dude.
Right.
Their jungler's here all the time. It's like, well, you're playing on their tier 2 tower, bud.
Right.
And you kind of lose that communication. So for newer players trying to get into the jungle, I can see how it's a little bit harder.
Oh, people go crazy in like caches and stuff. Like
That's right.
low level caches, if I have like a player on Smurf or something, they're like,
So toxic. So
And
toxic.
if only they knew who they were talking to, right?
You have like a 4-level lead, you'll get like 2K on the other jungler. It's like jungle diff. I'm I'm massive over this guy. What are you talking
You're literally
about?
like 8-0.
Yeah,
The other guy's
8-0,
first
come
kill
on.
was that guy.
I think that's actually a pretty decent segue. Are there any pet peeves, specifically for ranked? We can talk about competitive teammate pet peeves in a little bit. Ranked pet peeves in the jungle that come to mind when it comes to your roles.
People playing Baba Yaga mid in ranked.
Why is that?
Because Baba Yaga is like, you have to be like really good at her for it to be good, and a lot of ranked players aren't really good at her. So then it's like, oh, well, we have a Baba Yaga that's like, she does good damage, but
Right.
he's not hitting his ability. So like,
I need to delete my match history. I've played a lot of Baba Yaga.
No, he said if you're not good, bud.
Right, and I'm really good
yeah,
at
if you're
Baba
good,
Yaga.
if you're good at Baba Yaga, you can play her. But besides that, no Baba.
Yeah.
I hate Baba on my team.
All right. Well,
Panda,
whenever I
I
get
think
into
you
your
can answer
lobbies.
this question really well. Because
Yeah,
you
you've been
play
playing
more casual than ranked than anybody.
You're
Yeah.
a ranked casual
I
fiend.
hate playing with Janos on my team. I feel like every I play with Janos,
Yes.
they don't even know how to use the ult. They use
Yes.
the ult to kill someone with a snipe and that's it.
God,
Like,
he's so right.
I hate that, yeah.
You're hot. You're like on a wall. You know their portal's up. You're like, please get me out of here. They portal themselves out somewhere else. They're already out of the fight. I
Oh,
hate those
yeah.
players, man. They can't do it.
The only answer is Susano and that's it. If you don't pick that god, you cannot do nothing against Janus.
So tough.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, you have to play with a Giannis player a good bit of the time. Do you have any ranked pet peeves that come to mind when you think of playing jungle in ranked? What's the least favorite thing for your teammates to do?
I don't know. I really hate going against like Athena in general in ranked.
Yeah.
Because, well, okay, I hate having her on my team. And I hate going against her. Because people, when Athena on your team, they just hold their taunt forever and they don't use the ability.
Yeah.
But then against you, like, if you're not trying to use your brain that much in ranked, right? You're just trying to go around, and then Athena's just gonna ult wherever you are. So that feels kind of annoying. But maybe it's just Athena's.
Athena in general, fair enough. Labs, anything anyone hasn't said that sparks your pet peeve energy?
I mean, not having any pressure in any lanes. It can fast become pretty boring in ranked. Like you can just go in your own jungle, but if you go like to mid camps and stuff, you're just gonna lose every fight. It gets a bit boring real fast in ranked because people don't really know what to do.
I always wonder, especially with stuff like that. I think this is such a specific question, but it did come to mind. At what point of Fed is it just not worth ganking a lane anymore? If we're sticking with like ranked, casual pet peeves, things like that, you know, your duo lane is like 0 and 5 combined. They're begging for a gank. At what point do you determine you just let them sit on an island on their own?
It depends on guards a lot. Like what guard you're playing, what guards you're trying to gank. Like
if it's a solo lane that's fed,
a solo lane
you're out of there.
Playing like a guardian and you have a physical solo lane and you're a physical jungle, you just go there and do like 20 damage at each ability and like 100 damage and like, okay, I'm going back to base now because I'm dead.
I think in ranked as a jungler, you should always do what's best for you.
Sure.
For like farm, like as soon as you fall behind, you're kind of like jungle kind of wins ranked right now. So like if your other jungler is like kind of like diffing you, like you're just gonna lose.
Yep.
So like you just gotta make sure you do what's best for you and don't go to like a losing lane and like throw your lead.
That doesn't happen to you often though, Myf, does it? You don't get jungle diffed frequently, I imagine.
Well, before I answer that completely loaded question, I gotta say that is the most layers answer I think I could have ever heard. Just gotta look out for numero uno. No, I've never been diffed in my life. What was the original question?
That, I think.
Oh,
Have
sick,
you ever
yeah.
been jungle diffed in your entire life?
Not once.
Not once. You heard it here first from Myf. Let's rewind the clock here a little bit. I want to go to everyone on this one. In your mind, favorite and least favorite jungle metas can be things like invading, can be things like the gods that were good at the time, items that were good at the time. Favorite and least favorite jungle metas that you've ever played in. Myf, I'll start with you, and then we can what is this, counterclockwise? We can go this way.
God, what year did I win Worlds? That was my favorite, hands down. I was playing tanks every game. It was Odin. I was playing tank Circuit. I hated doing that.
You're
but
against the
I
current
did
here,
win.
though. We hated tanky warrior jungles at the beginning of the year.
because we weren't playing tanky warriors back then. We were playing tanky guardians and tanky assassins, and that's just no fun. There's no worse feeling than dunking 3 people with Thor, channeling Berserker's Barrage, and it ticking for like 40 because you've got like Breastplate of Valor.
Wait, so is it
like,
your
Rune
least
Forged.
favorite jungle meta? Or
Yeah,
your
but
favorite?
I won, so I have to love it.
That's fair.
My favorite jungle meta, legitimately, I think, was when magical junglers were actually good. I think it was at the very beginning of Season 6, where Habois and Alquang were pretty strong. I thought that was a very new take on the jungle, and I was enjoying it. And then they like buffed warriors again. It just became a warrior meta.
So least favorite but favorite was when you won.
Yes.
And I think that tracks pretty well. Layers, over to you. Favorite and least favorite jungle metas that you've ever played in?
I've liked every single one of them except the speed invade. I feel like in that meta, whatever support gave you the better start, you win.
God, what year was that? Was that Season 5?
I feel like it's 6.
Oh,
Season
6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Whatever support gave you the better start. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
just
right.
won.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that had to have been
they
annoying.
tried to invaders
Yeah,
curse.
they try to delay time. So like
so
the whole
much
point of
fun.
the sword of support invade is
God,
not
I
even
hated
getting
that.
it's not even getting the speed buff. It's delaying you so the other jungler can get like a better path to farm, and whoever gets like the farm quicker wins.
Yeah, that was Mike's favorite meta for sure.
I was gonna say I was doing paladins at the time, so I was in here while the SPL was going on, so I was sort of on the fringe. But I feel like what I gathered most was that a support just followed you around for the first like few minutes of the game.
Straight up.
You
As
just
long
had
as
to
they
deal with
could,
it.
yeah.
Sometimes they will kill you.
Yeah.
With
Oh,
Erlang,
really?
no, they
Sick.
play Erlang, yeah,
They
Erlang.
do.
And what? That wasn't like. I mean, the goal, of course, would be. I mean, it'd be sweet if they killed you, but they were just trying to be annoying. I guess
Yeah.
was the whole point.
Yeah, they wanted to not farm with you as long as possible.
Fair enough. God, that sucks.
just drag you down. They're not
Junglers
succeeding.
have it so hard, man.
We do.
Unbelievable. Unreal.
We just do.
Buff
We're
jungle.
the smartest role. We've got to put the most work into farming.
I said you gotta
and
take-
nobody respects us.
I said if you're going to do this, you got to take it seriously.
I'm
man.
being dead serious. Have I said anything that's wrong, boys? That's right.
No. You're right. All right. Smartest role, blah, 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 says Myth. Panatom, how about you? Do you have any favorite and least favorite jungle
My
metas?
least favorite is the invade meta. Like,
Yeah.
I remember playing against Michael. Like, oh wow, I got my speed. I'm good. And then I got Circuit Thunder, upgraded, and the one. And I was like, oh, I'm 1 HP. I have to back. Okay.
That's a good victory.
So least favorite, that seems like a pretty popular least favorite answer.
Well, you were never in control.
We just couldn't play the game. I
No, you
guess.
weren't in control.
Right.
It was all up to starts from like whoever support gave you the better start one. So
And I
So
hear
lucky I
Mike,
was
Mike, if
retired.
you're listening to this, your name is coming up a whole lot in this conversation. So you've made a lot of people angry. How about your favorite meta?
My favorite, maybe season 5. I remember it was like Nesha and Mercury meta. And those two are like my favorite junglers, so I enjoyed it a lot. Golden Blade was pretty good there.
God, I miss Golden
I
Blade.
like Golden Blade, yeah.
Yeah.
Did we see?
Throwing Dagger, Golden Blade too.
Wasn't
Like,
Golden
that was good
Blade
stuff.
decent? Like, was it last year? Or like at the beginning of this year? I feel like we saw Golden Blade
it was
like hastened.
I think it wasn't bad.
I think it was last year.
maybe last year a little
Yeah.
bit.
It was corn like everybody
It was at the
last year.
start, right? They buffed
Yeah.
it like,
Yeah.
They buffed it a bit.
yeah.
Started last.
yeah, if you didn't build it, you were down like 3 levels, like automatically.
Yeah, I
I'm pretty
remember I
sure.
played back and do like 6K. I won that game.
Yeah.
It just made it so easy to farm. It was like,
Yeah,
oh, I don't
yeah.
have to use abilities anymore. This is nice.
Yeah, I mean, farming uncontested is difficult, I imagine. So doing that easier is.
Oh yeah, because I think it like did more damage to the sides than the
Yeah, because
minion
of
that
the
you were hitting.
Assassin's Blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just like kind of OP.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite meta then, Sam? Golden Blade?
Probably
farmer
not.
meta? What's your favorite meta in mid-jungle?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't hate the invade meta as much as everybody else. I did technically win worlds in it, so that's part of it
Yeah.
maybe. But I think like in ranked it was really bad because you just get grief by supports, and I don't know. There's a little less counterplay, and I think in comp it wasn't as bad, and it was kind of like almost like a little mind game between you and the support about like who's gonna start where, because like. I think I ended up starting like on the enemy red buffs or like on your own red buff. Like
Yeah.
you try to swap it up as much as possible to not get like found by him. So like in that sense, it was like not too bad. But when like you did get griefed, it was just awful. But like the mind game was pretty fun for me. I also I guess I had Neil who was like pretty good at the invade himself. So
Sure.
usually like even if I got a bad start, the enemy did too. So that was pretty good. But I also think I liked that meta like. Assassins were still meta, and their items were really good there. Like, I think Heartseeker was the strongest it has been. And I think maybe...
Transcendence, I think.
Huh?
Transcendence.
Oh, yeah, Trans was really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if... Is that when they introduced, like, Arendite that year, too? Or was that the next year? I don't remember. But I think it might have been when Arendite came into, and I think the items were just really good, so you could still play Assassins. So, like, outside of the Invade, it was good, but just, like, for ranked at least, that was really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Laz, round us out here. Favorite and least favorite metas.
Well, least favorite, definitely invade meta. We didn't. Our team wasn't really like that good with invading, and I got invaded, and I don't know. It was just like hard to get everything together, and you had to have like so many plans and all that. And we never really got to a point where we actually got like a good start against the better teams. So that sucked. Best best meta, that's season 5 when I played in Signum. That's the first year of competitive in SML. I guess that's SOC now. No, SEC now? SML?
Yeah, it's
Whatever is on the
yeah,
SPL.
SEC.
Yeah, there's like Daji, Baka, and all that. You could really one-shot back then.
Yeah, I
And
saw
there's
your
also, like-
Daji game today. I was on the assault.
Yeah, and you had like a lot of one-on-ones. You invaded, you arbitrated the other jungler, and you just get to do what you want to do, kind of. So I guess junglers are pretty OP, but that's nice when you're playing in a jungle.
Yeah, of course. That feels good.
Yeah.
Jungle, I think, is in such a unique spot where, I mean, not right now, but over the years, feels like kind of changes depending on, of course, what's good in the game at the time. Do you feel like as a jungler, you have to be ready to play any class of god, whether it might be mage, assassin, warrior, guardian, what am I missing, hunter?
Sure.
Do you feel like jungle, as a player, you have to be more versatile in what you can play than any other role?
I think so, yeah. I'd say so.
Probably, but if you look at the history, then probably it's solo lane,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
they have like when they play ranked and stuff, they have like this like they can just kind of play whatever. It might not be that good, but in jungle, if you want to win at least, you're kind of limited.
Sure.
Obviously, in solo lane there's meta guards, but like you can go away from those meta guards, still win lane and like do good. Like you can play Ula solo and like still win a game. But if I play like something,
Do you think that's because jungle has to be more involved earlier, and solo has
Sure.
time to kind of chill and do its own thing before it
Yeah,
has to get
probably,
involved?
yeah,
I think like ADC has been pretty, like there's metas for like they haven't been often, but like assassins were played there, and I think mages too,
yeah, true.
and hunters. But it still might be jungle needs. I don't know. The mages have never been that relevant. Like they were for like one meta maybe, right? But
For like half a month. Good month.
I think
though.
like
What a month it was.
Ben or Captain Twiggy played mages for a lot of that year at least.
Yeah.
And like I guess guardians and assassins and warriors are always like fairly relevant. So maybe it is just the most.
Yeah.
We might not have to learn the most god roles, like
Right.
we don't always have to play guardians, but there has been warrior metas, there's been guardian jungle metas, a short mage stint, assassins obviously. But if it's not the god pool that changes all the time, I think jungle has the most fluctuation in actual play style.
Sure.
A map change affects jungle more than anybody else. Pacing change, spawn camps, Gold Fury's new neutral objectives, all these things affect jungle just way more than every other role because you have to be there. It affects your pathing. It affects which gods you're allowed to play. When there was an early objective meta back when Hog existed, you were always playing high pressure junglers so you could go for those things. Then when the game slowed down right when Hog was removed, you play late game junglers. That completely changes your pace again. It's just, jungle is already the hardest role to get into, and I think it's also the hardest role to keep up with. If you were in Season 0 and you were a good hunter, you can load up today and you're probably still a pretty good hunter.
Sure.
If you were playing jungle back then, I think Zerogar is one of the most historically known junglers. He could come back tomorrow. He might be a plot head now.
What's wrong with that?
Not much. Going from like world champion contender to plot head, this probably doesn't feel so good.
I wouldn't know. I'm gold.
But one thing I just comment with the invade mid and stuff with like different starts, to some extent that's good. But when it comes to the start right now in the jungle, I think it's so boring. You have to do speed,
Yeah.
go to back camps, and if you lose pressure, or like if you're pressure, okay, you can get a mid camp or two. And if you don't have pressure, you just have to like, oh, I'm walking down to my right back camps or like something. And then if you get out pressure, you're like, oh, they get mid camps, they get oracles, and they have gang pressure now because I can't step up to the other jungler. There's like, if I wanted to be a low pressure jungle, I can't even do speed backs to backs and then doing like the solo side back camp. Like I'm gonna fall so far behind if I do that.
Right.
So I think it's like a bit boring with the start, and it's like, okay, he's gonna do this, he's gonna be here, bam, 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 in the start.
You did leave out your level 2 duo lane gank in your start, though. I want to. That's somewhere in your starting path. It's level 2 or level 3.
That's
you
the
go.
evil plan. No,
That's right. I don't want to give away too much.
yeah, but I just thought of that and I was like, that's kind of, I guess, like an annoying thing about the jungle right now.
Right. I think, with all of that being said and the versatility that you have to have, the adaptation you have to have, I am curious, we've discussed favorite metas, but as a player, is your favorite style to play just straight up assassin, jump in the back line, delete someone? You like playing more facilitator, set up, clean up? I feel like there's a wide variety of ways to play the jungle. Myf, I'll start with you again. Since Laz answered the last question, he set you up for this one. Do you have a favorite style of jungle to play? Like if you could prefer to set up for your team every game, play a Hunbats and 5-man Fear No Evil, or would you rather jump in late as a Kali and chainsaw people down?
In competitive, I always wanted to be the facilitator. I think it's because secretly I wanted to be a support since the beginning of time, but I was never given that opportunity. But in casuals and ranked, I want to play a god that is got global presence, hopefully, and the ability to just one tap. As long as I don't have to think about my allies and I can just play my game, that's the best case scenario for me. So I play things like Loki. I used to play tier jungle. I would go in, blink in, fearless, kill them off the fearless on my own, and then walk out of the lane after taking their wave between the towers so that my mid laner couldn't farm. I don't know. I like junglers that can kind of just act as a solo agent. Things like Susano nowadays, Kleena, Loki, even Ratatasker to a certain extent. Erlang Shen, back when Mannequins was like really, really good. I'm sure Layers could speak to that as well. Just walking into a lane, didn't need the help of your mid laner, just shut down the other guy. But competitively, I think Facilitator probably one of the best looks for jungle.
Sure. What do you think, Layers? How do you like to play the jungle?
I like a mixture of both. I like playing like the true damage, like hyper carry assassins, but I can switch and I can play like the Odin and like the Erlang.
Sure.
I kind of play whatever my team wants me to play, and that's my answer.
What a good teammate. What a fantastic teammate Layers is. Panitom, over to you. Any favorite styles of playing the jungle?
Yeah, I like the facilitator like game style because you don't feel like the pressure to have to kill the backline like so hard because I don't know if you pick like a hyper carry god and if you don't kill the backline you're gonna be pretty useless like. And if you go like a setup god, you can be just on the backline and CC the tanks and be useful.
Fair enough.
Yeah, see, I like that. If I can just jump in, drop a cage, and walk away, I'm living the dream. Sam, how about you?
Yeah, it's probably like the one-shot type of assassin.
Yeah.
I think it's like pretty fun to like set the pace of games, you know, and like get your team ahead too. But yeah, I just enjoy the kind of one-shot.
Good old one-shots. Laz, round us out here.
I just love playing Sakat. That's it.
You and Panitom both, huh?
I don't love to play circuit.
He has to play circuit. He has to. It doesn't mean he likes it.
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm like Layers, like a bit in between. Like sometimes it's fun to play the one-shot guard. Sometimes it's fun to play like facilitating and all that.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends meta and the team and all that shit.
Yeah, I suppose what's good at the time probably indicate what's more or less fun to play.
Just kind of try and follow the meta, I guess.
Yeah. This is a total niche question. Who is it? Scream that's been playing a lot of Kali?
Yeah.
We all prepping to play a little more Kali here over the next couple. Although that's maybe more of a draft strategy question. We don't have to answer that.
That might just be like a Scarab thing.
Maybe it's just a
Like
Scarab thing.
they pull that stuff out. I was like, Charb is mid. I was like, I haven't seen that. Like, I don't know. If
That's true. Because it's like triple chin size against Cthulhu is what they were.
They all go like they had like triple Wind Demon too.
Triple
Wind Demon.
God, I hate those guys.
Cthulhu hates them. All right, so maybe Kali. I won't ask you guys to reveal too much there. Kind of final few questions from me, then we're going to move on to Twitter questions here. Do we feel, I mean, there's so much discussion around the jungle, of course. Do we feel like there's any public misconceptions about the jungle? Something that people think is the case about the jungle that is just not the case?
Being everywhere on the map and ranked.
Yeah.
And ranked people try to get like pulled around. It's like people come to my chat and they'd be like, my team's complaining like, well, we're falling behind duo side, and they're like, well, if they're getting 2v2'd, that's not really your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Like unless there's a jungler over there ganking them, that's them losing their 2v2. That's on them.
Right.
That's like a big misconception. Like junglers can't be everywhere, so it's really just like kind of like up to you on which side you want to play.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, even with ganks, like there's kind of gonna happen, and then instantly like people go to blame the jungle, you know, when like a lot of it can be on you with like wards or like positioning, realizing like
far
where the
up you are.
jungler is. Yeah, exactly. And I guess like a lot of it's like in ranked for sure. You just get blamed for any kind of play that happens, and it's like, oh, why aren't you like doing this?
Why aren't you here?
I think jungle is the most blamed role in the game.
I think it's gotta be.
Sure.
That's by a mile. Yeah.
It's changed throughout the years, hasn't it? It used to be supports once upon a time. Like
Supports get a lot of
Yeah.
flack in lane, I'd say, but it happens.
Nowadays.
Junglers get slammed,
The
dude.
thing is, no matter like all the lane roles are gonna be impacted the most by jungle and support, and jungle does it earlier, so like they're just gonna get the blame if somebody comes and your support or jungle isn't there, you're gonna be like, what's going on?
where are you at? What are you doing?
Yeah, they look like, oh, their speed's up, like you didn't get that even, so
You'll be like at your backs. Like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
yeah.
their speed's up, man. You should go for that. I'm like, oh, that's like,
yeah,
nah, we're nowhere close
let me
to
just
me.
teleport there.
This is good. We've got a nice jungler support group going here.
Yeah.
We're the
I'm-
most abused class, it's for sure.
Hi, I'm Myflin, and I'm a jungler. Hey, Myf. All right, we're going to round things out here as far as my personal questions.
Okay.
I was going to say we're going to love on one another a little bit, but I guess you could be mean in this segment if you want to. I want everyone to describe one another's play style. I want us to describe Lasbra's play style first and what it's like playing against Lasbra.
all of us at once.
Not all at once. No, we're going to take turns.
fucking sucks.
So we'll start with Sam,
Okay.
and then we're going to come this way. Laz, you don't get to describe what it's like to play against yourself, unfortunately. Sam, how would you what would you use to describe Lasbra's play style?
I was gonna say like playmaking essentially, but maybe that's just like a like maybe I'd say that for like Panitom too, you know. But Lasbra really likes like the, maybe not always, but like the early pressure gods, you know, like the Circuits and Erlangs, and kind of trying to influence like lanes with ganks and try to get people ahead very early type of thing, you know. Influence the game as early as possible, I feel like. That's what I'd say.
Panitom, how about you? What would you use to describe Lasbra's playstyle?
I think Lasbra playstyle is kind of like, I mean, it used to be like a second soul laner, just like making a space, forcing beats, like a second super too, like. Yeah.
Layers?
Should I use Paul's words? No, I'm kidding.
Please do. You can use whoever's words.
He's like, this guy's entered on me, man. That's like the best thing I've ever heard. He just likes to run out mages and get like actives and stuff. He plays like the early pressure. He plays like Circuit, Erlang, those gods. He just likes to create space, get actives, get in there. That's kind of his style, I'd say.
Myflin, as an analyst, I'll allow you to. Have you ever played against Lasbra?
I don't think so, not competitively. He came in like right after I retired.
Have you ranked games against one another at all?
I'm not that good, Dave.
I think it was in a rank game against you and Aggro at one point.
Oh, did we work you?
Nah, you guys lost.
Certainly not.
Lazarus jungle style, I think he might be the epitome of momentum. To speak to his point and the point of everybody else, he likes playing those early pressure gods. And if he succeeds in those early ganks, those big power plays, he runs with the lead. You go hard, man. It is crazy. And I can understand why Paul says he's inting on me. I've seen Lasbra. It's almost as if he just wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. He sees Paul across the map. He's like, I don't care where he is in this fight. I'm getting to this guy. But Lasbra, the other side of the coin of momentum is if those early ganks don't go well, sometimes you can see it's like the wind goes out of your sails and you're like, all right, it's time to farm. I'm going to my back camps.
Just hopefully my team carries me at that point.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. Jungle from behind is a very bad feeling role. I mean, if you're not able to deal the damage that you want to, it almost feels like you're not allowed to engage. So I think if I were Twitch chat, I'd say Lasbra cringe. I'm Myflin though, I say momentum.
You call Lasbra cringe ganks constantly.
Well, if he's going to keep doing it, I got to say it.
Fair enough. All right, so that's Lasbra as told by the other supports I have at the table. We're going to jump to Sam now. And Laz, you got to sit out the last round, so we're going to start with you. How would you describe Sam for Soccer's playstyle?
I guess he's just like the assassin, basically. Like, doesn't play the warriors in the jungle, just gets like 2 free items and then just like killing everybody.
Runs around with Thanatos and axes people to death. Panitom?
I think something like the hyper carry late game, like playing those like super, not pressure, like it's like pressure but on late game, because if you don't use like actives correctly, he's just gonna one shot you. Yep.
Which you like those one shot gods, so that's a good description. Layers, how about you?
I'd say like the assassin style too. He's like the flanker. He likes to come behind and he likes to get on the back line and like one shot people. And that's what he loves it. That's his thing, dude. Like Thanatos side, the late game. Woo.
Yep. Myflin, you get an extra asterisk on all these questions. Have you ever played against Sam ranked or competitively? And what would you describe his playstyle as?
Ranked, but not recently, yes. Competitively, I do not believe so.
No.
Sam for Soccer, if Reddit were to like make those Chad memes of like the average jungler, like that's you. Like you are
the average or the Chad.
Like what everyone thinks of as a jungler, that's Sam for Soccer.
He's like the idol.
Yeah. If you want to get good at jungle, you build your shrine to Sam and you pray every night. But I think that Sam is very apt to go for those late game hyper carry style plays, like Panitom said. When I think of Sam for Soccer, I think of Hunbots, I think of Mercury. But maybe more so, and this might be my perspective as a caster, you are one of the most contrarian players I've ever seen. When it's a warrior meta, you will fight tooth and nail to stay away from it. When it's an assassin meta, all of a sudden Gilgamesh is coming out of the back pocket in the group stages.
That's right.
I think that Sam for Soccer is almost exempt from the pressure of like the norms of his role in that I don't think you concern yourself overly so with what other people are doing. You want to play what you think is good, and you want to play what you want to play. If it's Thanatos one day, it's going to be Thanatos. If it's Mercury the next, it's going to be Mercury. And if it's against Barracuda, you're probably playing Mercury and you're diving into tier 2.
Yeah, bold of you to assume anyone's not banning Mercury against Sam, but I appreciate the mindset there, Myf. And so that is Sam, as told by the rest of the junglers. We're moving on to Panitom now. Laz, you had to go first last time, so we're going to skip you and get to you last. Sam, when you think of Panitom, playing against Panitom, what comes to mind?
I'm just saying I already went first once.
Did you already go first once?
Yeah, for Lasbra, that's all.
Yeah, sure. Layers, you go first.
Thank you.
I got pounded for a while.
That's right, that's my
anytime-
fault.
I got pounded for a while anytime I played against him, but recently I've been getting better. But he's got me down. He's like I don't know, he plays like the hyper carries and he plays like your Charquette. I guess he's just kind of like a jack of all trades jungler.
Sure.
I think he plays
Swiss
whatever.
Army knife.
Yeah, Swiss Army knife. There you go. That's what I would say for Panitom.
Myf, have you played competitively or ranked?
You gotta stop asking, man. No, I have not played against Panitom competitively.
Well, I don't know. You're gonna say yes to
Well, I
him,
will.
right?
So
you
you do
gotta
know. It
ask.
seems like.
So don't stop asking.
I've
I
played
know,
against
do they
Panitom plenty of times in casuals and a couple of times in ranked, but not on my main account occasionally. So he might not remember some of these games, but playing against Panitom is so annoying because I think almost exclusively I've played against him from the times of midnight to 4 a.m. And somewhere in there. And I don't know if he's drinking coffee, if he's pounding espresso shots every night. He's always playing at 100%. But the one mainstay of playing against Panitom for me is he's stopping me from doing what I want to do. If I'm playing jungle and I go into a lane and I'm ganking, I'm thinking to myself, well, surely his speed buff's up. And it is. His speed buff is up. But he's also in this lane counter ganking me for some reason. It's just a very, very nuanced style of you are controlling the map in a way that it is stifling at times. You do have that jack of all trades style in that, and you've said it earlier today that you'll play whatever your boys need you to play. But occasionally, and I don't know if it's you coming up with some of these picks or if it's maybe Oxy, the coach, but I've been incredibly impressed recently by like your Susano play, your ability to like kind of maneuver around mid. I think of the current junglers in the league, you might have some of the best teamwork with your support as well. You and Wrong You, when you two get involved, especially in the mid 3v3, it's scary. Like it feels like, and a lot of teams do this, they stop playing once you two show up in mid. They're like, we lost like 3 fights. I'm not trying to keep going there. And so maybe a operative word for Panitom is scary.
And Wrong You's taken some of the Circuit
the
pressure off of
grinding.
you, which is nice. He's playing a little Circuit.
Oh
He's
yeah,
at the
that's
mid.
pretty good. Like we pick circuit and we can fletch it like thanks.
I don't have to play Circuit. All right, Lasbra, we'll make it to you now. Describe.
I was almost gonna call him a bit of a meta slave, but it's like he's a team slave. They just tell him what to play. Oh, we want pressure, we're gonna pick Urlag and all that. And then, like, at least how we see him on our team is like the ganks, like from level 1 to 5, or like just the early game ganks, like we don't know where he's gonna be. So we always like scared of him.
Never know where he is on the map.
Yep.
Sam for Soccer, you can go last this time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know. I guess like he kind of just does it all, you know.
Yep.
And I think one of the like maybe most impressive things was maybe like last year or something, but like in general, farm like wise, if you like distribute on their team, you know, Shinta's getting a lot of farm, so Panitom's kind of lacking with it, but he just makes it work no matter what. Like no matter how much farm he has, you know, he's still making his plays and doing everything that he has to. So that
Resilient.
for sure.
Generous is another good word. I
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
glossed over that, man. It's crazy. When I used to play jungle competitive, I'm sitting in mid. Like,
Does
those are
she-
my waves too.
Does
You're
she
not
do-
taking anything.
Does Shindo send you away from it sometimes? He's
He
like, don't
told-
come.
Wait, no. He told me like, oh, I think left mid cans are up, and I came and they're done, and he just pushed the entire
Yeah,
wave.
he's like, okay.
Like, bro just told me like I want to solo this wave, and that's it, bro. Told you.
He's like, I know these are down, but you know,
Yeah,
get out of here real quick.
yeah.
Oh, I cleared it already. Sorry.
It was super low impact. It was sometime this weekend. You guys were on FG, and you were gonna get it anyway. And he left. He left to go farm mid harpies, mid wave.
He always do that. Yeah.
It was so funny. I enjoyed that moment. So that's Panitom. Layers is going to be, don't worry, I'm not going to make everyone describe Myf's playstyle because
Nobody knows it.
Nobody
Let's be
knows
honest.
it.
Okay, maybe get layers to do it.
So we're going to talk about Layers a little bit here, and to give all the other guys some respite from going first. Myf, have you ever played against Layers
Yeah.
competitively or in ranked?
Describe
Yeah,
it.
to both.
Describe your competitive experience against Layers.
Layers, and Layers will admit this as well. He was a young guy when we used to play against each other. You were a cocky player, and it reflected in your play style. I felt like if there was a 1v3 on the map, you were willing to take it because you were mechanically a lot better than everybody else on console. So egotistical does come to mind when I think of your play style, but I think more so playmaker. It felt like, and this is something that you've slowly grown out of, maybe it came with maturity, but every team that you played on throughout your console career and maybe early on PC, it felt like you knew you were the best player on that team, and you did not have any qualms sharing that with not only the timeline of Twitter, but also your teammates and your opponents. But you had the stuff to back it up. You really did. You're a very talented player. You're very willing to grow. I think that it might come with your youth. That we have not seen the peak of layers yet. So matured, I think, comes to mind for you. Aggressive definitely comes to mind. More recently, versatile as well. You said earlier you like playing that facilitator style and the hyper carry. That's new. Like in the last couple of years, it used to be just hyper carry.
Yeah, it's the sound on them, dude.
That's right. That was it.
Good answer, Myf. That was a good way to start.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too, like
Yeah.
hyper carry, but yeah, you've been going towards away from that, and then you've been like, I don't know, like what you can say about like farming. Like I got out from like all 4 games I played, so I guess you have a pretty good farming route and all that.
Yep.
I guess.
I guess it's all right.
Better than me. So
Sam, what's it been like playing against the layers here recently?
Yeah, I mean, I think Layers is like I think he likes to lean towards like the more hyper carry type of stuff,
yeah.
and like kind of farming up a little. You know, like for some reason I think of like Tsukiyomi type of thing. You know,
Yeah.
like get your items online, kind of try to one shot, but
Hammer spike, dude.
Hammer.
That's all I think about.
but like also can obviously play like the Erlings, you know, and kind of run it down and set up for the team.
Yep. Panitom, final thoughts on layers?
I think layer game style is like just to make Paul comfort. Like pick all the pressure to like let Paul
not a bad
let
thing.
Paul play the game. Like because I mean when layers has like Erlang, for example, you cannot blink on Paul, for example, because you're gonna die against that.
Right.
So I feel like it's just helping Paul.
There are some good people to facilitate in this league.
Yeah,
Paul
Paul
is
and
definitely
Shinto
one.
seem to have some good pocket junglers here.
I want to talk about like there's like a scrim story I have. It's pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
By all means, I mean, if you're allowed to share it.
Well, it's
then-
not. So
then-
we're not leaking picks, but anytime we play the Leviathans, Shinto's like the guy that like if Paul's not equal farm with Shinto, he freaks out. And it's the funniest thing ever.
No.
Paul will be behind. He'll split like speed with me just to keep up with Shinto. If he's 100 gold behind Shinto, he's like,
No kidding.
someone else is gonna have to carry. The game's over. I'm like, dude, you're 100 gold behind.
In my side, like Shinto, oh, I'm 3 levels ahead. Oh, I'm just better. Okay.
All Shinto, all
3
Shinto.
levels down. Like, oh, I wonder where it
I'm
came
like,
from.
I'm level 5 or you're level 10. Okay.
Me
gold
and
Jimmer.
Panitom are just looking at each other like we're uber behind in the scrims, and like Paul's they're both like 16 and we're like 11. We're like,
Let's go.
Dude, I just imagine
funny.
Paul saying like, "How is he ahead, dude?"
Oh, that's funny because Paul is such like a subdued dude. So that's funny hearing like behind the scenes stories
Yeah,
where
it's
he
funny.
gets a little bit more vocal. All right, that's the my portion of this segment. Production, give me a shout on how many of these you want me to ask because we got plenty of jungler Q&A questions now is the next segment we're moving into. People on Twitter asked in. And they've had some thoughts for you guys here out of the jungle. So let's go ahead and kick off this segment. At Bergen Cedric on Twitter said, this one's pretty interesting. More analytical, less memey. Maybe it is memey. How would you guys feel if Erlang Shen was role changed to Assassin and had a stat rebalance? Would you prefer that, or do you think Warrior makes the most sense?
he's in a weird spot. He like never gets played solo, even though he's like intended to be like a solo laner. He's like a warrior. But if they like did him like Ravana and they like nerfed his like base stats, I feel like he just get one shot. I think because you're kind of like in the middle of everything as Erlang, and you're like trying to initiate, and you're not really like starting a fight per se, but you're definitely going in and like taunting people and stuff. And if you like, I don't know, I feel like you just get one shot. I think.
He has a lot of CC with a lot of damage at the same time. But
I don't know.
Warrior, Assassin, I don't know.
Yeah, you could say he's similar to Circuit, but Circuit's like at least more mobile, so like
Yeah.
it makes like it's better for it to have the assassin stats, but like yeah, I'm not sure.
I think making Erlang an assassin is like a nerf. Like
Sure.
Yeah.
the warrior stats are just better.
I just wish he'd go back to. There's a point where like for his 3, you'd actually consider like which one to use, like the mink or the
Yeah.
knockup, and it's just
Oh yeah.
knock
We
up,
knocking
knock
up
up,
now.
knock up.
Yeah.
Health
No
shield.
matter what.
You need that health shield.
That's
now.
all it is.
I gotta say the mink does a deceiving amount of damage. Though. If you mink
Yeah.
on a single target, you like slam.
It's not too
Yeah.
bad,
Remember
but
when it used to give you haste?
if they're not low,
good
yeah,
days.
if they're not low, they just kind of jump away though.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe we're keeping Erlang Shen as he is for the time. He's seeing play how he is now.
Well, you might have to re-kit him if you switch him to an assassin.
Yeah, that's what I was
Right.
thinking about.
Yeah.
Like that
Like,
much
maybe take the
CC.
taunt
Meek
out.
needs major buff, I think.
Like
if
that
he
much
goes assassin.
CC as assassin.
Yeah,
is
maybe
kinda
it
crazy.
changes ult if you did
Yeah,
that.
it
but-
changes all. Yeah, I'd say it changes all if you
No,
re-kill him.
9 turns blessing. We love some 9 turns blessing around here. For that reason alone, he's staying as a warrior.
For that reason, I'm out.
So aside from Erlang as an assassin, at It's Poppy Chulo 26 on Twitter asks, what is your least favorite assassin to play in the jungle?
Bastet by a mile.
Why is that?
Because she is boring, and she does not have a skill. She's super boring. Yeah,
That is
you
true.
press your 4, and then you have a big 2 and
But
a
there's
big
so
1.
much
I
damage.
kind of like the old Bastet. This
Yeah.
Bastet's a
Dude,
bit
yeah,
more
you miss
boring.
cats, right? Like cats were fun.
Yeah. I think maybe it's Arachne for me though.
Yeah. Correct.
Oh, what?
I love Arachne.
You know,
Arachne's really boring.
if Scream was here, he'd be throwing hands right now. Arachne's fun. Come on. It's literally the OG Erlang
All right,
shot.
make your case. Why is Arachne fun?
Arachne's fun. You can. It's literally the WP god that you want. She's got the original bat out of hell. I forget Arachne's ultimate name. Caster's in here, but it's a great escape tool.
I totally know it.
You've got major slow tools. The stun is super fun. She comes online relatively early. She's one of the best pub stomps in the game, and I only play pubs. Arachne's great. Just give her a chance.
In competitive, you pop your 2 when you're 1, and you walk to backline, and the whole time you're running at backline, you get killed. You're like, you go
Yeah, well, blink in there, man. I don't know.
coming.
I can't play her for you.
You're just getting slammed as you're trying
I
to
could
get
see it
in
being pretty boring just because like 1 and 2 is just like her auto attacks and like
Yeah,
animations
just
that way.
stims.
So it's like
But isn't the 3 so fun? You know, somebody's web. You're walking faster now. I
And they
love
can't-
going fast.
and they're slowed.
Yeah, it's so good. It's everything you want.
So, sorry, we got caught up in Arachne talks, but who said Bastet? You said
Fire.
Bastet. Who'd you say?
Oh man, of all junglers or all assassins?
All assassins.
Assassins. I might also go Bastet. She's fun sometimes, but like
You can't play her 2 games in a row.
you can't play her
She's
2
a-
games
she's
in
a
a row.
one-game- she's a one-game slammer.
It's just a mono note play style, and then I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna use my claws. I'm gonna
it.
jump out
You jump
probably. And if I'm not jumping out, I'm walking out because I'm not sticking around to auto attack.
All right, so Bastet for 2 of 2. We're going to go for all 5 on Bastet being our least favorite.
I mean, it is towards busted, but also I don't like really playing a Willix.
no.
What?
Oh, Wilkes is fun.
What?
she is fun.
Oh, it's so fun.
You flip.
What?
You got like the Blink 180.
Dude,
you,
Feather
like,
Step's like
rip
one of the
180
most fun
knockup.
tools.
I'm going to give
Her
Laz
knockup's
the
a lot
chance
of
here.
fun.
Defend. Why don't you like playing a Wheelix?
I just don't like playing. I never really got into her, and
Sure.
so,
If it doesn't feel good, then
yeah.
The main thing I dislike about her is her ones can be really awkward
Yeah,
sometimes.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like the one when you go on and off, and like how the auto attacks feels after and that. It's just like a bit
Yeah.
awkward sometimes.
She should be able to flip on her cat. Dude, that'd be so
Oh,
sick.
that
That'd
would
be
be
sweet.
tight.
Yeah.
What if you use the 3 while on the cat just runs out from under you, and that's your 3.
And then you just like have to drop down on the ground.
Yeah.
And then you
that'd
can
be
auto
tight.
attack. That'd be
Yeah,
sick.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it makes it do.
Yeah.
Triple
I don't think
damage.
she's like.
What if it eats both?
I don't know if
cooldowns?
like the word is
Why
clunky,
is that more
but
damage? You know?
it can feel a bit clunky sometimes. I think so. But Basta would be the lowest on my list just because of the playstyle on her.
right.
But she's getting rework now, but like new ultimate.
She
or
looks
something?
fun, yeah, with the pull.
Her
Looks
three's
cool.
just gonna be bad,
Bad,
still,
yeah.
but maybe
Her
she'll
new
be
ult
good.
though is gross.
Is it good?
It's
I haven't seen it. Like
gross.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen her play this. So.
Same.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, never.
So like what
I read it
happens
a
is she
little
like
bit.
throws like a big circle through the wall.
Yeah.
And if she hits you with the circle, you
pulls you
get
back.
pulled through the wall.
Yeah,
She essentially like summons a giant Ragnarok
Yeah.
Fenrir, and he
Yeah.
grabs you
And he
takes
grabs you and,
And
pulls
you
you through walls.
yeah.
and your CC immune or something as well.
I don't think that's CC immunity. It's like you
it?
toss out
I
the
thought
ability.
I thought.
maybe read that or something.
Well, you can beat that pool, right?
Yeah, but are you
I hope
CC
so.
immune when you cast a
That
spell?
would suck.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Oh, somebody said
I
that.
think I
about
heard
it.
you could like blink with it too, and it makes them go farther or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's
And it's
intended.
easy to do.
What, like
it's
a
not like
Herc?
Herc blink pool.
Yeah.
You got like 3 seconds to blink. It feels like, depending on the range.
Yeah, maybe that'll get fixed, but maybe it's sick.
Maybe Bastet rises up the ranks here.
Yeah.
Sam.
Mine's Arachne though, so
Ooh, Bakasura, because that'd be
Oh,
up
you said
there as
Arachne,
well,
right?
right?
Panitom, what is your least favorite assassin to play? You can say Bastet if you want.
No, just to change, maybe Fenrir. I feel like
Really?
Fenrir's
Yeah.
fun, kinda.
I feel like he's too simple. Like no mechanics
too
on the
easy,
god.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got 2 leaps. That's 2 outplays.
The most fun I have with him is Bomba's Hammer Fenrir. That's
Oh,
too
that,
fun.
that was pretty fun. Yeah, but Boomba Hammer make every god
yeah,
fun.
that's true.
Hammer. All right, so Fenrir for Panitom, which is a surprising answer. That was simple. Panitom, he needs his brain stimulated, and Fenrir just doesn't get it done. I'm going to say it. Am I allowed to say it?
Maybe don't say
I
it.
am going to say it.
Okay.
At Decky Thickums on Twitter
Oh, that's good.
asks, how do you cope with the existence of tanks? Myf, we're swapping out Laz's mic, so let's go to Myf and Layers' cam here. Myf and Layers, how do you two cope with the Oh wait, I chose the wrong camera to go to. That's my fault. How do you cope with the existence of tanks? We'll stay on this one. That's on me.
It depends on which tank meta it is. If Geb and Khepri are in the game, I'm just trying my best to like completely zone them out. I just don't want to think about them because they're so unfun to play against. There's no worse feeling than going in as an assassin, working really hard, putting yourself out of position to get a kill, and then Scarab's Blessing rolls through or Stone Shield does.
Sure.
Otherwise, if it's like, I don't know, like an aggressive tank meta, I don't know, it's just another god. I'm not really concerning myself with it at all.
Now we can open it up to everyone, including new mic on Lasbra here.
Tanks are lame.
Even if you're the one playing tanks?
Yes.
Especially.
Especially that.
I think tanks are pretty strong right now. Like, I don't know, mages don't get penetration to like last item sometimes.
And aggro's tilted about it.
He's
But-
just wrong.
But it does make sense to not get the penetration sometimes. Like, the items are just pretty good.
Sure.
But it just doesn't make much sense, right? You're not gonna have penetration until late game, or like that late of game. So you're doing like almost no damage, and they're pretty tanky, and they have a lot of damage right now with Pridwin, Mystical Mail. You saw that some people got Sigil, like the Mulan on Nika. Like, there's a lot of damage to have with being super tanky. And if they just get a small lead, like, it can almost be impossible to stop.
Solo's feeling pretty good. We
Yeah.
like Solo lane. At Pico Stanny said, why aren't you guys playing Eset Jungle?
It sucks.
Cause I'm not
Especially
Sino.
right now.
I'm not
Yeah,
Sino,
we're not
dude.
Sino. We don't have
We're
it.
not that.
If it
Dude.
was,
Maces got buffed, man.
if assassins weren't as good as they are right now, it would be okay.
Yeah.
But assassins are really good, so it just sucks. That's
What
it.
about Eset support? Are we on that? We're on the SEC Eset support.
Probably better than
Was that
like
Quig?
Eset Jungle.
Eset
Yeah, it's
Jungle
probably better than
sucks.
Eset
It's like so easy to counter. You can just build Ansil and kill him on cooldown.
It's kind of fun though.
Yeah.
Doing the Sino would like blink, silence, ult, spirit ball, and that's kind of like a fun combo to do in general. But
Just play Thor, man. You don't even know how to blink then.
Yeah, so Pico Stanny, it's bad, and you should feel bad for asking that question. That's why they're not playing it. We kind of talked about this earlier, but we've talked about the shifts in the jungle where sometimes certain classes are stronger than others, things like that. At Bathy B says, do you think there will ever be a meta where all classes can be played in the jungle and have it be viable?
No, I don't think so.
There's usually just gonna be like
One good class.
a meta, right?
Yeah.
Like, depending on the items, maybe depending on buffs on certain like roles. Like, let's say mages have been too weak for a bit, they get super buffed. Then maybe,
Yeah.
but I don't think so. No.
No. That would be hard. That would
Yeah.
require a lot of stuff to be.
The game would be broken if
yeah,
every class
everything
was
would have
going
to.
jungle.
Yeah. I guess you're right. That's a good temperature check for like the good roles. If everyone is playing everything in jungle, then
Jungle's probably really good.
yeah, something's probably really good there.
or it doesn't matter at all.
Or it doesn't matter at all. At Yale, YAEL 3590 on Twitter asks, who do you absolutely hate matching up against, whether it's a player or a specific god when you're in the jungle?
Yamoja. In
Over
competitive.
Khepri Geb.
Oh,
Yes.
as far as
Yeah.
let's go.
If Rangu has Yamoja, I'm not.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah, Yamoja and Geb are just they're anti-fun. Kepri's like pretty close, but
You just
At
pick
least you can
Thanatos
execute
and you
him.
like doing that
Yeah.
anyway, right?
yeah.
It must be nice.
But
Yeah, I think. I mean, the Mojo is annoying, but if I look at it straight up, then I think Gap is probably
yeah,
like
I think he's a
the
little
guy
more.
that comes to mind.
Yeah.
He's just annoying.
Yeah, he is.
Are there jungle specific, like assassin or jungler versus jungler god matchups that you particularly don't like? You hate seeing a Thor on the other team, or a
Maybe sometimes it's like specific like matchups for like some god just get counterpicked by some things.
Sure.
You know, like but
If I'm like Set and then the other jungler is Baka, that's like the worst matchup ever, I'm pretty sure.
got it. So
Baka
more
just Baka
counterplay,
eats Set.
yeah.
right?
I don't know. I don't like playing against Hunbots because I feel like
Just
he's got
in
the
general?
best counter gank. Like if
Yeah.
if I show up first and Hunbot shows up second, I'm probably losing the fight because Fear No Evil. I also, when I'm playing jungle, I don't like when the other jungler has a global and I don't. because he's just getting everywhere first no matter what, unless I'm playing Hunbots.
Yeah, that's extra pressure for you. You got to be more active on the map.
I hate playing against Fenrir or Circuit. Like, you're not gonna have beats never. Like,
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do plays with those. God, I don't know.
Yeah, it's obnoxious.
you
And
got-
Fenrir is so easy.
Do you guys remember when Athena was meta this year?
In the jungle.
Athena? Like,
Yeah.
it's like a
Yeah, did we
Oh,
love
the-
it? Did we
the
love the
bombas and
Athena
stuff.
jungle meta?
Yeah.
Did we like Athena jungle or no?
I like it.
It was fun.
I think it's fun to play, but it can be like very frustrating to play against because like the side lanes has to play back and she can make plays.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there's like guards were stronger than her, but she could just do too many things because she had so much damage.
Yeah, I think against an Athena, like side lanes are kind of cut off. You have to play where she is. You have to play like
Yeah.
in mid.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I like the Athena jungle meta. Not playing it, but watching it, I thought it was kind of fun.
Playing Eset as a jungler is probably the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Especially in
that being
ranked,
obnoxious. Rise Page on Twitter asks, what is the most impact? I guess this is all subjective, but what is the most impactful lane to gank, and why?
Depends on the game.
Depends on the game, I
Well, for
imagine.
like the
Panitom, it's
matchup.
probably mid, right? You gotta help
No.
Shinto out? No? No.
I think the more impactful lane to gank is solo lane. Like, if your solo lane is big, he creates like so much
Oh, that's
space for
true.
you.
Yeah.
Obviously, it depends on the game, but
Yeah,
if
or
you
maybe
have to choose an
the
answer,
point in the
you
game
have to
too,
be
you know?
solo.
Duo for Gold Fury, maybe?
Yeah,
if your
like
punch
later,
pulls
once
ahead,
it's
that
later
feels
on,
good.
then like maybe
Yeah.
duos gets up a little and solo goes
There's
down.
a positive in every lane, right?
You can make a case
Yeah,
for
yeah.
each lane, right?
For sure. Agreed.
Watch back Nikon Mulan, and then you have a good case for solo lane. Emoji Man Kevin. This is a loaded question. Do you still feel like a good person after blinking on the mid at level 1?
Definitely, yeah.
I do,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's like the only time you've got like a guaranteed attempt at a play, man. Those mid laners, it happens every game, and it
it's
still
me.
happens to them.
And it happens to me.
You guys are dumb.
Because I've been playing Hunter more.
That happens to me too when I play mid. So.
Yeah, I feel good if I kill them, and I feel like a bad person if I don't kill them.
Yep.
So it's the opposite of what Emoji Man Kevin's going
Yeah.
for here. You feel bad if you don't get anything, but if you
Yeah.
kill the mid,
So they
I
should,
consider the
that's
mid laner a part of my farm path now.
so they should die to
picking 'em
you
up.
to make you feel better. Like they should
Yeah.
realize their impact.
Like, why don't they die? I just not blink on them. Come on.
Emoji Man Kevin. Yes, they do feel good when they blink on the mid at level 1. Only if they get the kill. So that's the opposite of what you wanted to hear. Makeup by Santa. Which backliner, as in pro player, so which pro SPO player is the most annoying to dive? That's a very
Big man
specific
Tinks.
question.
Big man
Really?
takes by a mile.
Why BMT?
He plays cuckoo and he does not leave his tower line. And there you have it.
BMT, quick answer.
It's maybe Paul, maybe Shinto's up there.
Might depend on
All
what they're
mid
playing.
laners.
Maybe it's just maybe Paul's main one. Paul just plays very, like
Calculated.
yeah, calculated and safe type of thing. He makes sure not to put himself in like bad spots.
Lots of mid laners.
Yeah, probably towards that.
I don't have that problem
Some-
anymore.
some-
Unfortunately.
That's right.
I think sometimes PCAT, like he's always like down to turn a fight and like just I don't know, try and like combo with
Yeah,
you
Zap
or
kind of does
something.
that too. You know, like
Yeah.
if you're ganking him, you got to make sure you can't turn on you because he's gonna try
gonna
for
try
sure.
to,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
Zap
like
is
just
ruined,
always
yeah.
down to fight, so I mean that can be annoying. But yeah, probably Paul. I mean Shinto as well, especially when Purse was made up with like Rama and stuff in
Oh, yeah.
last season, I think. Last season, it was like
Yeah.
impossible to kill them.
Yeah,
Like-
God, Persephone Rom was meta for a little while there,
Yeah,
huh?
that was like impossible.
Panitom, how about you?
It-
Same?
it
Mid
has to
laners?
be Paul, yeah.
Freaking Paul,
I
man.
could say Paul too. I played against him on the Scarabs.
That's right, you're allowed
I
to,
could
you're
never
allowed to
kill
answer
him.
Paul as well.
GG.
All right, last question here from Twitter. This is actually pretty interesting. This is a good one to end on. Misplaced on Twitter asks, when or how did you know that being a jungler was where you were meant to be? Myflin, I'm going to start with you, and we're gonna counterclockwise around the table and round out this segment.
So we're gonna go all the way back to season 0. I was playing on a team called Silver Snakes. It was Kret, who is now or was a designer on Rogue Company most recently. I believe he moved to another company.
Yep.
He was the team captain.
A road company.
Moji as well from Juice was on that team, and then a couple of other players that kind of fell off immediately afterward. But Jungle did not exist back then, and then they released Bumbas for the first time ever. And Kret pulls a team meeting and he says, one of us has to learn how to jungle, and it's not going to be me. And I just kind of got nominated for it. And I was loving being a hunter back then, by the way. Hunters were nasty back in Season 0. So it kind of got thrust upon me, and I just kind of stuck with it for a full decade.
Not by your own choosing.
No. If I were given the option, and I said it earlier, I would have played support competitively.
But do you love it now? You look back, you've had a nice world championship career.
I love what it accomplished for me, and I love how it helped me grow as a player. I legitimately think junglers are the best players in Smite because of how much you have to actively think when you play the game. But no, I would have very much liked to have been able to turn my brain off a little bit more often and just have my farm walk to me every wave.
Yeah, that would be nice. How about you, Layers? When did you know, or how did you discover that jungle was your role?
So I started as a solo laner, and I played Herc and Bologna every game. And then out of nowhere, I just played jungle one game, and I was kind of nice at it. And this guy's like, "You should jungle. You're pretty good." I'm like, "Okay." And I'm a jungler now.
And you stuck with it?
Yeah, I stuck with it.
So
Yeah,
you stumbled into it.
yeah, kind of.
Ever any doubts? You ever sad that you're in the jungle, or are you happy where you're at?
I had doubts when I was getting my speed invaded.
Yeah, I imagine
what am I
that.
doing here, dude?
I imagine that makes you
What am I
rethink
doing
a
in
lot
here,
of
man?
things. Now we're happy to have you in the jungle. Panitom, how about you? How did your jungle story come together?
I was playing ranks with my brother. We used to play dual lane. I was support, he was hunter. And we were losing like every game against junglers. And that was season 2, and adapting one worse, so he was like this super jungler. And my brother told me like, why you don't go to jungle? Like that role looks good and you like Thor, so.
Yeah.
Thor is cool too.
Yeah.
God, I wish Thor was good.
I love that, and it's just so fitting that Panitom's jungle story starts in grinding a ranked game.
The origin story is the story.
Is the story. Sam, how did your jungle story begin?
I think I also started with solo. When I started, I just played Joust only, and I literally only played Herc. I was just a Herc main. And then I think I saw like DM Brandon play Thanatos and just run at people. And then I just did that, and it was very fun. Like I think that was when you didn't even start on your own jungle. You literally just started on them with just fighting them.
God bless.
And that was just, I guess that's how it started, yeah.
You're a degenerate, man. Just
Sam-
so degenerate.
A triple-double game comes together. 10 double-digit kills, deaths, and
Right.
assists. How does that actually feel? I guess it depends maybe on the outcome of the game itself.
Yeah, I mean, we lost, I'm pretty sure, that game against Lasbra, right? I think we lost. Yeah, we lost that game, right?
Yeah, you almost killed us at Titan.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, the thing is, like, I played well, but I also played, like, bad.
Right.
That's how you get a triple-double.
Right.
But, like, there was a time where, like, I was, like, a spot where I could literally just get a penta, and then I think I just ran in and died. Because Jake had, like, he had Nemean line. That's actually how I died. 'Cause I thought I'd just kill him, and he was a Sobek ulti, and then Nemean line blocked my Hydra's autos, and I died, but, like...
I imagine
yeah,
it's
it
an
doesn't
emotionally confusing game.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I
a little
did
bit.
so well, but so
like,
bad.
I'm really Oni, but I'm also kind of just inting a little, so...
Well, they're fun to watch as a spectator, for what it's worth. I know that doesn't totally salve the wound, but it helps from our perspective. Lasbra, finish us out here for our segment. What is your jungle story?
I honestly don't even know. I used to play a lot of League, and I'll play like kind of every role, just depending on what like my friends and stuff would need, and I'll be pretty good at it. And then Tricks and Fred started playing Smite, like our elephants. Fred would play the jungle. I watched a lot. I would probably play the most solo lane in season 2, season 1, but I'll play the carry, just do cube with them. So when I do cube with Fred, I would basically never play jungle. And then sometimes when I queued with Tricks, I would play a bit of jungle. And then I just kept playing, stopped playing season 3, came back season 4, and I was like, okay, I can probably go pro at this game because I could hit like high masters every season without even trying that much. So I came back season 4. Yeah, so I came back season 4, and then I was like, I just need to find like one role and stick to it because I can probably make it to at least SML, not necessarily SML.
He knew from day one.
And then I just chose jungle, and then like Fred could help a little bit, but tips down there.
We're glad to have all you guys. It's been a great season to watch, especially in this recent meta. Jungles have been pretty strong, which is a cool thing to watch as well when it's able to have a big impact. Final question for everyone: who are the smartest, most aggressive, most well put together, best communicating players on every team?
The jungle.
Jungle.
Everybody, yeah, jungle.
Jungle.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll chant this out. Junglers. They're all the best. This was Roll Q&A with the Junglers. Appreciate everyone tuning into this one. Make sure to tune in future weeks. We got a whole lot more rolls coming on through. So thank you. Stay tuned for more, though. 1v1 coming up next.
I love the jungle.
Hey, wait, what did it win?
You win the respect.
You're telling me an alien wore this?
Perfect. Okay,
that was a good cut.
Messaging him to mute.
The best graphics you really need, Ultra, of course, and I can probably watch a stream on the side.
Content's gonna look good. Pretty good, pretty good.